Good morning. Welcome to South Florida Sunday. Jennifer Ross along with Joe Landmichael. He is the volunteer and docent manager at one of my favorite places in Palm Beach County, the Palm Beach Zoo. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Okay, so number one, what is the difference between a volunteer and a docent?
Well, there is a big difference between a volunteer and a docent. The first thing is they are all volunteers. However, a docent is very well trained. They go through a total of 5 to 6 week training course just on everything and anything in the zoo. The biggest difference, though, with the docents versus volunteers is those people that you see out in the park itself, handling the animals, bringing them closer to the public, creating that connection to the collection. Those are our docents because they are trained to actually handle the education animals.
Okay, so can you go from volunteer to docent if
Yes,
you like?
we actually have that happen quite a bit where people are like, I want to take the docent classes. Now, we make it as easy as possible to take the docent classes, so if you can't make it to the class, you can actually watch them online and then take the test, or you can take out DVDs that we're creating now. So there's 3 different ways. We're trying to make it as universal as possible so you can be the best of the best and be a docent.
Does it take a long time?
About 5 weeks total. 5 total classes, and there is some tests and auditioning that goes on, but basically when you officially are a docent, you are ready to go out and you are the best.
Can you, as a docent, say, I want to work with the orangutan?
Well, actually, here's the cool thing. The docents are the ones that are doing the education. However, we do have animal care volunteers that actually work alongside the keepers and are pretty much, they go through their own different systems, but you can work and be an assistant keeper basically as a volunteer at the zoo.
Oh, see, I would love this.
The cool thing about the volunteer program is we have just revamped it, and we have made it so easy for anybody and everybody to come in and volunteer at the zoo because there's many different opportunities, from animal care to commissary to, if you don't want to be in the Florida heat, we actually would love to have people assist in the office. So there's so many different areas, and especially here's the one I love the most. Horticulture, which is our plants that takes care of all of our 23 acres of luscious greenery. You can actually volunteer if you want to learn how to do landscaping. You can volunteer with our horticulturist and learn not only taking care of the plants in the zoo, but what you could do at your own home.
This is awesome. Now, there have to be certain requirements.
There are different requirements, and you can actually find them online at our website at palmbeachzoo.org under the volunteer section. You'll see a listing of about 10 different areas you can volunteer, and there's descriptions under all those areas of what the time commitment is, what your training will be like, and we basically prepare you to go out and do your task.
Can I run the carousel?
Unfortunately, the carousel is one of our paid people. However, if you wanted to ride the carousel, you could go ahead and ride the carousel.
Where is the Palm Beach Zoo?
The Palm Beach Zoo is located in West Palm Beach at 1301 Summit Boulevard in West Palm Beach, of course.
If you're on 95, what's the best way to get there?
You can get off on Southern Boulevard, or you can get off on Forest Hill. There's 2 different ways. The easiest way, though, is by getting off directly on Southern and then just follow the signs to the zoo.
Joe Landmichael, who is the volunteer and docent manager at the Palm Beach Zoo, my guest on South Florida Sunday. One of the coolest things that you guys do is breakfast with Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Yes, we are actually very excited. In fact, for those who would like to come and become a special event volunteer where you only give a couple events out of the year, we're looking right now for some really good candidates that would love to play Santa and Mrs. Claus as a volunteer. The Breakfast with Santa is going to be held on the 15th and 16th of December and the 22nd and 23rd. The cool thing is, even if you didn't want to volunteer and you wanted to come to the event, it is one of the most awesome events that we hold. You actually get animal encounters, free carousel rides, pictures with Santa and Mrs. Claus. It's just a fun family event to go to, and if you're interested, just go to our website at palmbeachzoo.org to make your reservation today.
Do you have to have kids to come to Breakfast with Santa, or can adults just go?
To be honest, if you really wanted to go to Breakfast with Santa, anybody could go. Normally, though, it is a kid-friendly event. However, if you are a big kid at heart, you are more than welcome to join.
All right, now we talked about your volunteer program, Joe. Obviously, you want people who are 18, but
Correct.
Are there kids? Can they kids, like school kids, come?
We're actually very excited. Part of the volunteer revamp that we have done is we've taken the program where we do have our 18 and older program that gets to work with the animals and do additional things like horticulture and work in the office. However, starting January 17th, it will be up on our website at palmbeachzoo.org. We have a new section that's called the YVC, Youth Volunteer Corps. That is for teenagers in the state of Florida who are from 14 to 18, are freshmen to seniors. It's a brand new program that will start March 25th. They'll go through about a 2-week training. There'll be an application you'll have to follow, but it'll be just for youth. In fact, we're going to be hiring 70 youth volunteers this summer from, again, 14 to 18 years old, and you'll go out in the park and you'll interpret. You'll get to take out some of the artifacts and actually get close to not only the animals through education, but get the people excited, get our guests excited about education, conservation, and their visit visit to the zoo. In fact, we're in the beginning stages where this program is going to grow to a program I came from back in Chicago, where the first year you do interpretation. The second year you can apply to go into science track, where you get to kind of like go behind the scenes, see what it's like to be a keeper, see what it's like to be a vet, go to other facilities, and then move into a third year program where you'll get to kind of mentor. So we're in the infant stages right now, but we're basically creating a youth volunteer corps that's going to prepare you that when you go to college, you know what you want to do.
Joe Landmichael, who is the volunteer and docent manager at the Palm Beach Zoo, my guest on South Florida Sunday. Jennifer Ross talking about the volunteer program, your youth volunteer corps that's going to kick off next year. Are most of the volunteers that you have, are they people who like animals, don't like animals? Are they, I mean, you got a snake exhibit. No offense. If I were a volunteer, I'd be like, put me on the other side of the zoo.
Well, here's the cool thing. In fact, most of our volunteers, yeah, they have some type of passion for animals, but the biggest thing is they just want to help out and they want to build that connection to the collection, creating a fun place for people of West Palm Beach and the Palm Beach area in general to come to. So most of our volunteers aren't necessarily animal people, because we have some that just love plants and that's all they do. They come in and help our horticulturists. We have some that love snakes, and that's what they do, is they help in the animal care department. And then we have some people that just are meticulous and love to file. So they aren't anywhere near the animals. They're just helping us in the office.
That wouldn't be me, by the way. You can put me in with the animals. Just keep me away from the snakes and things that crawl, like spiders. You got spiders?
We do have spiders, but it's quite all right, because the spiders we do have usually can't harm people, so you're okay.
That's good. You mentioned that you're from the Chicago area. How long you been in Palm Beach County?
I just came to Palm Beach 4 weeks ago to was a national search that the zoo was doing for a new volunteer manager, and based on the program I came from at the Shed Aquarium, where there's over 1,000 volunteers, I was training and building their program as a volunteer myself. And then, of course, the Palm Beach Zoo asked me to come down, and how could I not come down to this wonderful area and this wonderful little zoo of 23 acres? I mean, it is the best place to volunteer, in my opinion, in all of Southern Florida.
Plus, you got the fountain. So when the summer hits, because being from Chicago, you haven't lived through a South Florida summer, wear your bathing suit underneath your clothes. And
I know. Well, you know what? Actually, it's kind of funny about that fountain. I didn't know that fountain goes off when I first came, so it went off after I was through it, but it was okay.
We talked about breakfast with Santa. What is ahead for January? Any special events you'd like to talk about?
Well, the thing is, the zoo always has special events going on. So the biggest thing is to visit our website at palmbeachzoo.org to take a look at our special events coming up. For January, I'm not exactly sure what we have going on, but if you want to know more about special events coming up throughout the year, definitely visit our website, and that will give you more information. I know for a fact coming up for Easter time, I know it's still far away. There's always breakfast with the Easter Bunny as well. So there are special events coming up. You'll just have to go to our website to visit it.
You used to do sleepovers. Do you still do sleepovers?
There are still sleepovers going on. The sleepover schedule is found on our website, so you can go ahead and take a look there if you'd like to do sleepovers. In fact, here's the cool thing about the sleepovers. Say, for instance, you have a big enough group like Girl Scout group or Boy Scout group, you can always contact our education department and find out about creating a special overnight just for your group itself. And again, you can do that by going to our website at palmbeachzoo.org and click under the education section.
Joe Landmichael, the volunteer and docent manager at the Palm Beach Zoo on South Florida Sunday. What's the best thing that volunteers get out of the program?
The best thing that people get out of the program is smiles. I can't stress highly enough the smiles that come out of the guests. For instance, one of the things, I was helping a volunteer who was having a little bit of difficulty at our WOW show. She was telling me that she didn't know how to relate to little kids. So I was out there and there was this little guy and I was like, how much do flamingos weigh? And the little kids were all like 20 pounds, 30 pounds. And then I got on my knee and I was like, how much do you weigh? To this little guy, he had to be maybe 3 or 4. And he's like, I don't know. Give me a minute. And he's like, Mom, how much do I weigh? And he's like, I weigh about 25 pounds. I'm like, do you know you weigh double of what a flamingo actually weighs? And all the kids were like, wow. And I tell you, she looked at me and she's like, I really need to take your class. In fact, that's one of the best things about volunteering. I offer once a month classes on how to act, on public speaking, on how to relate to your public. So not only are you volunteering, but you're also now getting additional curriculum that's free of charge that I am teaching you to go out and build yourself up, and not only for volunteering, but for potential career jobs, for potential other gigs that you're doing at school or at work. Basically, we are building you as a volunteer to be the best person you can be.
Did you go to Disney school?
I did not. However, what's funny is I used to work for SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, and I come from an atmosphere where if I'm not entertaining, I'm not educating, and I'm not doing my job.
Because you're pretty amazing. I'll give you credit.
Thank
I've never
you very
had somebody
much.
with so much energy in here on a Sunday morning as you. I'm like, you got me fired up. I want to be a volunteer, and I don't even have any time.
We're actually, if you're excited about volunteering, we're doing interviews every day of the week in my office. All you have to do is go to the website, send an email with the application, or you can give a call to the zoo at 561-533-0887, extension 239. Call me directly. We'll get you scheduled for an interview because we have orientation coming up here in December. So if you want to volunteer, we can get you started.
I want to come work for you just because it's you. You're awesome.
Thank you very much.
Are you married?
I am not. I am not married, but I like the single life for me. That's where I can get up and go and treat and train people, because it's kind of hard to have a girlfriend when you're training volunteers at 8 o'clock in the evening and you have no time for additional people. So I am single, though.
And you're pretty young.
I am. I'm 26 years old.
You're a baby. I have kids your age.
I have done quite a bit in my 26 years where everybody's like, based on what you've done, you can't be that young.
Now, did you go to college to do any of this, or was this just because you worked at SeaWorld and then you went to the aquarium in Chicago?
Well, the funny thing is my degree is actually in public relations and marketing. Right. It's just to get through college, I was doing different things. I was working at a school with kids with severe autism where I created devices that I'm working on patenting for them, to working at SeaWorld over the summers. I've done miscellaneous jobs to kind of build as much experience as I could. So that's why when coming down here, there's going to be so many different programs. In fact, one of the programs we're going to be working with soon is with special needs schools to help find additional volunteer opportunities so that they can get that hands-on experience. So like I said, the volunteer revamp is coming to the program, and it's going to be so exciting for the people of Palm Beach. By next October, you're going to see a totally different program. You're going to see a zoo that is just a sea of yellow, in my opinion, because we're going to have so many volunteers that'll want to volunteer for the zoo. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, so what did your parents do to make you like this? Because every mother listening right now is going, this kid's amazing. My 26-year-old isn't like this. What hint can you give us all?
The biggest thing is my parents were big on taking me to volunteer. I come from a working household of two parents, and when I started at 14 volunteering for the Brookfield Zoo up in Chicago, they made sure that I got there every other Saturday. They made sure to build it. My uncle made sure to keep me in the scouting program where I became an Eagle Scout. The biggest thing is getting out there and getting so many opportunities. That is the biggest thing, because if you're just stuck on one thing like sports, you're never going to get those opportunities, and that's what my parents believed in, is getting me out there.
Well, I think maybe we should lend your parents out to families across South Florida. Joe Landmichael, volunteer and docent manager at the Palm Beach Zoo. Definitely an asset to the Palm Beach Zoo. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you here, and I wish you the best with your volunteers, and yes, I'll come volunteer over the summer.
Thank you very much. We look forward to having you.
And your website one more time.
palmbeachzoo.org.
Thanks so very much.
Thank you.